out airborne bacteria, dust, dirt, and viruses quickly and painlessly so you can get back to breathing clearly again. Say goodbye to sinus suffering and hello to better breathing with Navage. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, Target, CVS, Rite Aid, and online at Navage.com. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
The Wake Up Crow, weekday mornings, 6 to 7:50.
WGNS, your good neighbor station.
Rutherford County's place to talk. The Good Neighbor Network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. And online at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning. This is Bill Krause on a beautiful Thursday morning as we're getting ready for the Labor Day weekend. Really hard to believe that summer has already come and is about ready to go. Hot summer, wet summer, but an enjoyable summer. This morning we're going to have a real treat. We're going to be visiting with a young man who was a student of mine at the SAE Institute of Technology, which is a program in downtown Nashville in Music Row that basically is teaching, assisting, motivating people in the music industry. This young man has quite a professional and personal record. We're just going to share a conversation on a number of items, not a particular agenda in mind, and literally we're going to see the inside of some real interesting observation. His name is Otis DeJournay. Did I do you right?
You did me right.
DeJournay. Good morning, Otis. How are you?
Good morning, Dr. Krause. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
Great is the
Yes.
word we like. And we're going to start. Otis, you were born where? And let's take a journey of Otis's life from that remarkable day.
Let's go back. I was born Evanston, Illinois.
Home of Northwestern.
Home of Northwestern. Wildcats. Very, very progressive city. Very progressive, very diverse. I have so many great experiences from that city, and from time to time I go back. I just recently went back, and I felt out of place. Believe that, right? Because I've made Nashville my home.
You've been here how long?
6 years, going on 7.
Wow, okay.
Yes.
So in Evanston, you grew up, went to elementary, high school?
Yes, I went to Evanston Township High School, one of the biggest high schools in the country. It's like a college. When I mention the things in that school, it's like I'm telling a lie. 16 gymnasiums, 2.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Two swimming pools, one Olympic-sized pool, 2. You got a field house, indoor and outdoor track, separate football field from the facility. I was literally in college
While you were in your high school
while
years.
I was in high school. Yes.
And after high school, what was the next step in the journey?
It took a detour. I had a child at 19 years old, right out of high school. Okay. And so my life detoured. That was an incredible lesson. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But I took that challenge and I did pretty good.
And the responsibility?
I took all accountability for that and was responsible. My daughter ended up in college. I encouraged. That's a given.
Yes.
Any child that's around me, whether mine's or any child.
Friend of yours,
Friends,
relatives,
college, get to the university. You need to experience that.
learn, and learn.
Yes, and you need to be able to handle that without your parents over your shoulders, waking you up every morning, So, she went to the university. She went to Southern Illinois.
Oh, in
Yes,
Carbondale.
In Carbondale, yes. And so now my journey is here now, right? I'm here in Nashville with my high school sweetheart.
Wow.
And we've known each other since I was 17 years old.
You could find her in that huge high school?
You know what? That's the long-standing joke. Like, you went to Evanston Township High School too? Yes. At the same time, yes. That school is so big, you can't possibly know everyone there. But I won't say that I was popular, but I knew a lot of people.
So what brought you to Middle Tennessee?
My mother-in-law. Okay.
Wow.
So
you have a lot of great stories about your mother-in-law.
That's my mother.
Comedians make jokes about mother-in-laws for years, but this is a very special person.
I won't joke around with her. She's an incredible woman. She was born and raised in Jamaica. She came here to the United States in 1968, and her perception and her outlook in the world very different from us. And from the year she graduated high school, she had been at the same job.
Wow.
And she retired from that job, which brought her out here to Nashville. That's why we're here. She worked for United Methodist. And she, that position that she held, nobody else knew how to do that.
In the church administration and leadership.
Yes. And what happened was her mother passed. And at that moment, I made an emotional decision. And you know how that could be sometimes.
Very, very special.
I told her if she needed us to move down here, I would do that.
Regardless of knowing nobody here or what you were going to be doing?
I left everything, starting all over.
Was it a pretty quick decision?
Yes, it was. That was immediate. I stuck with my guns, and it took maybe a year and a half to really make that transition, because I was set. My feet were planted, and I had everything, going for me at that
place.
In place. So we moved down here, and the reason why I made that, told her that, I was willing to move, is because she was losing her eyesight.
Wow.
Yes. And I felt like that was the right thing to do for our family. And here I'm thinking I'm helping her. And when I got here, she saved my life.
I'm assuming that your wife has many of the same traits and insights as your mother-in-law.
Yes. Yes, she does. My wife is a genius. She's highly intelligent. We got back together. It was tragedy knowing what she had went through. Okay. We were high school sweethearts. I broke her heart. We rekindled that 17 years later. And come to find out, she was going through trauma, abusive relationship. And I'm having this conversation with her, and I'm like, hey, did you tell your mother? Because a lot of women that goes through abuse, they don't talk about it outside of the family. So I told her, hey, you need to tell your mother, because your mother she's not having that. And she's like, no, I can't tell her. Nobody knows. I said, well, if you don't tell her, I'm going to tell her. And she's like, no, it can't come from you. I'll tell her, but let me tell her on my terms. I said, okay. So I gave her enough time to do that. And she did it. And her mom said, get out of that house immediately. And the rest is history. We got married. We have a beautiful child. My son is my world. He is incredible. 11 years old. The innocence of him makes me cry every now and then. And I'm not one to cry that easy. But this guy is incredible. He's incredible. So here I am in Nashville again. Like I said, my mother-in-law saved my life.
So once you got to Nashville, where did the journey take you as far as the professional pursuit?
First job I had, it was already here for me. Before I even got to Nashville, did a phone interview with MTA, which is WeGo now, the public transportation, and never thought I would ever drive, ever in life. You wouldn't. I love the honeymooners, but I didn't think I was going to, become Ralph Cramden.
Yes.
Yes.
Boy, you're dating yourself with Jackie Gleason.
But, hey, I come from an era where you listened and watched everything your parents watched and listened to. So I've looked at tons of classic
television shows.
that still holds near and dear to my heart. So yeah, I drove the bus for 3 years here
For MTA?
For MTA. There's this thing that when you ask God for something, and I love God, you better be careful, and you better be you got to be precise about that, because I asked to understand the people of Nashville. What better way to do that? Driving a bus. I understand the nuances of the people. I got it. It clicked in. For 6 months, I was homesick at first because I'm used to what I'm used to. And when I got settled in here in Nashville, it felt like home. It really did. My grandmother taught me well. My mother and my grandmother, they taught me well. They're from the South. So the Southern hospitality and how you treat others, that was instilled in us the entire time until the passing of my grandmother. And I still carry that on to this day. So,
And it shows. It really does.
thank you. I appreciate it.
So from the bus, you went...
From the bus, I became an insurance salesman.
Knocked on doors? Or not
Literally, like, knocked on doors using the phone. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm the guy calling you because you filled out some random application of anything on the internet, whatever you filled out, and it led to the insurance guy calling you. That was me getting on your nerves. And I did that. It really wasn't for me. That's not my style of business. But I do still carry the license. So I still have the license. And even though I don't, use it at all, I still make sure that I'm updated with all the latest.
Which are regulatory changes
Yes.
on an ongoing basis.
Yes. And then from there, I started an e-commerce business. And
I heard something the other day, and that the amount of people who, since the pandemic, when they were basically confined at home, literally millions of people are now in e-commerce or digital consulting, etc., and that to one degree is contributing to the lack of available candidates for regular 9-to-5 jobs. Because a lot of people got in the habit, got in the business, got in the profession, got in the history, and got in the success of working from home and being online and creating a constituency.
yes, well, I always say this. Tragedy brings greatness out of us as people. We learn by mistakes and trial and error. Unfortunately, we learn like that for the majority of us. And our shopping habits change. We had no choice. You had no choice but to shop online. And the more you go down that rabbit hole, it's hard to come off off your phone and off the internet. It's so interesting. It's so many things. It's so many different facets. It's so many distractions. It becomes addictive. And what's more addictive than shopping and having things delivered to your house with a smiley face on your box, right? So it was it became easy for me during the pandemic. It wasn't easy when I started it. I wasn't turning a profit at all, but I was maintaining it. And there was a guy who I listened to a lot named David Meltzer. And he said, if you can just keep the lights on and keep going at it, eventually you're going to find success. And that's what happened. I linked up with a DJ, a famous DJ named Terry Hunter. And
Where was he out of?
He's out of Chicago.
Out of Chicago,
Yes,
okay.
he's out of Chicago. Very, very known DJ in the house music world. Has produced for some of the greatest names and greatest talents in the music industry. And I handled his merch. And for those who don't understand merch, T-shirts and
Merchandise.
anything you can sell to a fan who's willing to purchase. So that became very, very lucrative for me. And I continue to do that still to this day. It's a lot slower than it was before, quite naturally because of the restrictions that was lifted. But yeah, e-commerce. It's not that hard to start. That's why millions were able to do that. It's nothing like brick and mortar. So you have an idea, a few $100s to get you started, but you still got to put the work in.
But the one interesting challenge there is you have such a sense of service and a sense of working with people and a sense of motivating those around you, a sense of encouraging. Did you feel limited by having to work on screen rather than in person?
Yes. I like the touch and the feel of human interaction. It's very important. It's one thing to be able to text somebody and say hello, but it's a difference when you're there in front of them. That emotion that comes off of us is radiant. You can feel it.
I'm very convinced that one of the very serious negative impact of the pandemic, besides the million deaths, et cetera, was the fact that people wore masks and they couldn't smile.
No.
And you couldn't see people smiling. You couldn't see people's emotion. You couldn't see people's love or their feeling or their happiness.
Our affection was turned off. That pandemic turned off our affection for one another. It was a very hard adjustment when they lifted the ban, right? They said, okay, no more mask mandates. My stepson literally had to tell me to take my mask off as we were going into Publix grocery store. And I felt like there was a bit of anxiety.
You felt without clothes.
Yeah, I did. I felt naked. I took it off, and and it was almost like the Wizard of Oz when everybody, once the house fell on the witch. Yeah, and everybody felt free. There was this weird feeling that I had about that type of freedom because we never experienced this.
Correct.
This never happened before. We still are trying to reel it in and trying to connect with each other again. That we're lashing out on each other. And our ideas are clashing with each other. It's okay to disagree, but to disagree for no reason whatsoever, the pandemic put a lot on us, and we need to scale back, breathe, and become human again. Have compassion for one another. I love people. I love running into people. I love having conversations and stories about what you have been through and the different trials and tribulations and how you got through that. I'm a big dog of an underdog. If you're an underdog, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you all day long.
And we're going to talk more about that in just a moment or two. We've got a break at this particular time, but we're with Otis DiGiornate, and I've got to do in a quiet way. DiGiornate, I love that name. But we'll be right back.
Hey, it's Scott. When it comes to health, there are numbers that every man needs to know, including our very own testosterone numbers. I recommend going to Low T Center, where they make it quick and easy to get your levels checked, and it's only $25. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll know your results in about 25 minutes. Low testosterone levels can make you feel tired, grumpy, cause lack of motivation, and drive. It can also raise your cholesterol, cause weight gain, and loss of muscle mass. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Get ready to unleash your inner Blue Raider spirit and make some noise at Floyd Stadium this season. Lock in your seat with season tickets starting at a jaw-dropping $99. Don't miss a single snap, heart-stopping touchdown, or electrifying atmosphere. Snag your tickets now. Go BlueRaiders.com/tickets. And don't forget to take your radios and listen at the game to FM 101.9 or AM 1450. WGNS, the flagship station for MTSU Sports. Let's go Blue!
Learn to make money 5 ways with rental real estate. Double your money with apartments. And get your map to financial freedom. And that map starts with a free workshop. Sign up now at lifestylesunlimited.com. Click on the Join Free Workshop tab and attend online or in person. That's lifestylesunlimited.com. Lifestylesunlimited.com. Again, that's lifestylesunlimited.com. Limited seating, unlimited potential.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by the law offices of John Day and Americare Pest Control.
This is a paid legal ad.
When a family member is lost as a result of someone else's negligence, the grief can be unbearable. It also leaves you with a lot of questions like, how did this happen? Who's responsible? And is my family going to be okay? That's a lot to go through, but with the law offices of John Day on your side, you don't have to go through any of it alone. We understand what you're going through, and we have the experience to get the answers, justice, and compensation your family deserves. Call the law offices of John Day.
Let's check those WGNS Good Neighbor events. There's a hallowed ground lantern tour at the Stones River Battlefield. The next one is Saturday, September the 9th. It's free, but you need to sign up in advance. Contact the Stones River National Battlefield for more information. Be sure and get your tickets for Greenhouse Ministries Live in the Borough. It's Tuesday night, September the 12th at Hop Springs. Tickets are available online at the Greenhouse Ministries website. Oh yes, let's get a dose of local history too. Come on over to the one-room Ransom Schoolhouse this Saturday morning from 9 until noon. Members of the Rutherford County Historical Society will be there to talk local history. Plenty of coffee and free donuts. 717 North Academy Street. Yes, it is free. Don't throw away Old Glory. Bring your tattered American flag to WGNS. And let the girls from BSA Troop 2019 at Trinity United Methodist Church retire it with dignity. Plus, we also recycle Bibles. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Good neighbor weather.
We'll see sunny skies here this afternoon, a high in the mid-80s. Northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy and a low near 62. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 63.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. MTE's EV Car Club has hundreds of members and growing. EV owners, enthusiasts, and anyone interested in learning more about electric vehicles is encouraged to sign up at mte.com/EV Car Club.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
This is Bill Krause returning to the round table on a wonderful Thursday morning. We're having a nice visit. That's the best way I can describe it. Not an interview, not necessarily a conversation, but a wonderful visit with a young man by the name of Otis Desjornate. I was going to say all the ways to pronounce it, who has been sharing not only his journey of life, because there's an exciting opportunity that he'll be talking about in a few minutes, but basically his insights, which are so refreshing, and actually sharing the perceptions of who we are, where we are, do we smile without masks, and so forth. So you were talking about how the pandemic has had some real negative effects on our social being, our social communications.
Yes. We've. It's almost like we forgot everything, as far as how to treat each other, and we're pointing fingers at this person, that person, and we're becoming moral police. It just. I wish that we just breathe. I'm gonna say that a lot. Like, breathe. Get a moment.
Deep breath.
Take a deep one. Get a moment where you turn your brain off for a little bit. Just let your brain regroup. They call that meditation. When you truly meditate, you turn your brain off. Your brain needs rest, just like the rest of your body needs rest. And we need to reassess how we treat each other. And these narratives of racism and classism and stop. Let's stop. Yes, they exist, but that's not the whole story. It's not the whole story.
Well, from the point of an African-American young man, as you are,
yes.
Give us some insight in terms of how we best get along as people, how we best get along regardless of our color, regardless of our gender, regardless of our religion, regardless of our age. How do we get along?
We have to respect one another, have compassion for each other. I'm always say that word. Like when you don't just be tolerant. Have compassion. You don't understand the next person's story unless you sit down with them and have a conversation. We carry this armor around. So know that exists. And when we get through that barrier, we can have a conversation about life like we're doing right now. And have these stories and these sit downs. We need to talk with each other more. God, I'm trying to put this together, and I know it's obvious. We are as a society, we're attending church less. Does that have a negative effect on us as a society? We tend not to even think that, right? We start pointing the finger at other things. I say you have to get back to the root. This country was built off the idea of God. Regardless of how it happened, it was built off that idea. So first and foremost, we got to get our feet planted back into that. We're looking for so much different outside forces that's other than God. God is simple. So I'll give you an example. My outlook in life has changed, and it should every so many years. It should change. You should be growing. I wanted so much to change the music industry until I realized that the industry was built a certain way for a certain reason. That was based off the knowledge of those men who built that. We have new knowledge now. And now that we have new knowledge and we have technology, my views and my goals and what I would like to do now is more so of building a nation. And I say that with no hesitation. And when people see, especially African Americans say that, I'm trying to build a nation. It comes with mixed reviews and mixed thoughts, because it's like, okay, well, who are you? What type of person are you? Are you, so let me tell you what type of person I am. I'm a type of person that believes that everybody deserves an opportunity to breathe and live and have access to resources. Everybody has an opportunity.
And be the best they can be.
And be the best you can possibly be. So when I say build a nation, I said that to God. And when I said that, I prayed. I meditated, visualized. And when I did that, I'm going to say a year later, here I am talking to a guy who literally has experience in building a nation. Dr. Krause here. And
I'm not sure I have done quite that.
Because we don't understand that it starts at the macro level. The smallest details, the running a city, managing a city, understanding politics. You can't build a nation without doing that. This is what this nation, this is the infrastructure of this nation is politics. And so first and foremost, it's not the money. It's never the money that builds the nation. It's the people. It's the ideas. It's the think tanks. It's the incubators. I'm at the incubator stage of building a nation. I want to be around the right people to teach me. I say I may have maybe 40, maybe 30, 40 more years on this planet. Before I leave this planet, my impact will be felt for the greater good. I truly love people, all race, every facet about it, even the negative, because out of the negative, we get positive results. So again, I come back to that. What am I doing now? I'm building a nation, but that can only happen with me being around people who are like-minded.
What's interesting, and this is the next step I'd like to talk about, Otis is continually working to provide, working to support, working to motivate. And talk about how long you've been driving a party bus in downtown Nashville. One of the many intriguing chapters of the life of Otis.
Wow. When I was offered that job, it took some arm twisting to do it, because I said I would probably never drive a bus again. I was already past that experience, but it was hard to pass this one up. A lot has to do with the income of it.
Sure.
For 2 days, I worked 2 days, and in 2 days, I bring home enough that is equivalent to a 40-hour, 50-hour work week.
Which allows you the time to be pursuing.
It allows me the time with my son, which is incredible. I'm able to take him to school and pick him up. Just imagine that. That's an incredible experience for my son, because I didn't have that growing up. I had a father, but he wasn't there all the time. But I'm able to do that for my son, right? For me to come home and tell my wife that, hey, I'm about to drive a bus that is literally a party with some of the most beautiful women in America. And I say that, she didn't flinch. And of course I got to ask permission for that. You can't be having a great time around all these single women. Only one woman is getting married, right? Because these are your bachelorettes. We are the bachelorette capital of the world. So, needless to say, it's a great experience. I can't say anything negative about it. It's incredible, and I'm able to give women insight, because they'll ask. The first thing I ask them, "Hey, are you ready?" And I'll say, "Hey, yeah, I'm ready to get on the bus." I said, "No, are you ready for your husband?" And then the sigh comes, like, "Yeah, I'm ready." I said, "Oh, you hesitated." No, I'm ready. I'm so ready to get this done. And I'm just, I want to give you that moment of, did you really think about this? Did you really, is this so emotional that you jumped into this without thinking about it? Ladies, women, it's very important. You were created with an instinct that men don't have. Your connection to God is immense. It's incredible. When you tap into that, you help this nation. When you tap into that part, you're on autopilot, most of you. Most women are on autopilot. Nurturing, that thing called nurturing, that's a God-given thing right there. You nurture men that walk this globe, that create experiences. What type of child are you raising? Because they're going to be your next senator. They're going to be your next president. They're going to be the CEO, the manager, the supervisor, some employee at a job. What effect are they going to have on other people's lives when they come across them? It's very important that you pay attention while you're raising these kids. Pay attention to their behavior. Pay attention to the things. It's about them. We're borrowing this country. We're borrowing this planet from them. This is theirs. It's not ours. It's theirs. When you have that mentality, when you have that type of mindset, it changes. It changes the world in a positive direction. So I try to give the women some type of insight as far as especially love.
So it's not just a party bus, it's a philosophical bus.
All the time. I'm always philosophical. No matter where I'm at, no matter the job, no matter the experience, we can be cutting grass together. It's going to feel like you had a session with Alan Watts that day, and I'm a fan of Alan Watts, by the way. But it's very important that we think about pretty much everything we do. Have thoughts about that.
In class that we just completed, and this is one of the reasons why I have invited you here, because you served literally as a mentor to many young men and young women who were in the class. And they looked to Otis, and Otis was, I won't say a father figure. I'm not going to use the term father figure. Otis was a symbol of thought, symbol of optimism, symbol of looking to the future, but most importantly, symbol of being a good person. If you were talking to a group of smaller young men and women, those in middle school, those in high school, those regardless of their ethnic or their gender or their religious background, what would you tell young men and young women to be to be not only successful financially in the world ahead, but to be more importantly successful as a human being?
Well, this can be a bit controversial. I taught my son this. First and foremost, you need to know who you are.
How do
And
you do that?
I ask them the question, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
And I always get this, oh, I'm Ryan. I say, no, that's your name. And so I ask again, who are you? And they'll say, well, I'm a gamer, or I play basketball, or I said, no, that's what you do. Who are you? So by the third time I ask that question is silence, because the question has never been asked in a manner that made you look inward. And so what I've taught my son is that you're God. That's a lot of controversy right there behind that, because that's not how we were taught. And I say that with this here in mind, because I want to make it clear to everybody. When I ask that question and I teach you that you are God, this doesn't mean that you get to go heal people and walk on water. You're not that. Mm-hmm. That's not what we're talking about. You're part of a collective. We're never outside of that realm of God. So I teach them that first. That's first and foremost. Let me get your foot planted. And now that's in your head. Now I got different gears moving in your head. And I tell them, I said, do you know what you're capable of? And they're like, no. I said, do you know you're capable of doing anything? Anything. All you have to do is concentrate and focus on it. I said, it's harder for me as an adult to do anything because I'm setting my ways. I have habits and I have experiences that causes me to react to things different. I said, but as a child, you don't have that type of experience yet that I've been through. So you're naive, and that being naive allows you to not be afraid to take different measures, take different steps to do things.
Take risks.
Take risk. They're all risk. Everything's a risk. Everything's a risk. You're never without a risk. Going to the grocery store, going to church is a risk. I'm in church every Sunday, and every time I hear the door open, I look to make sure everybody's safe.
You think of Charleston, South Carolina,
I think
a few years ago.
Everything. I think of everything. And so we were never without risk. So don't be afraid. Fear is an illusion. I teach them that. Fear is an illusion. And love. It's important that they know I love them. Even if I don't know, I love them. I love you. I hear that. You hear that? Love alone, that word, those 4 letters alone is the most powerful word. That is the most powerful word on the planet. When a person hears that, Dr. Krause, I love you.
Oh,
how that make you feel? Look at this. I have goosebumps on my arm saying that to you.
Well, you got an A in the class. Couldn't resist that.
See, words are powerful. And it's very important that I teach them that. Words are powerful. So if you say you can't do something, you won't. Those are the bad words in my house. My son can never
use the word can't.
I can't. No. It's one thing if you don't want to, but you can do anything. I teach them that they can do anything. They're superhuman. These kids are superhuman. Their connection to God is incredible. So they have the ability to tap in and create something fresh and new, and the ability to make changes. So I try to make them feel very special. They are, and we got to hug our kids, y'all. You see a child today, go hug them. They need it. Trust me, I was that kid. I needed hugs. I needed tons of them. Well,
that advice worked for me this last summer, working in the inner city with 2 different nonprofits and working with children from the age of 6 up through teenagers. And you said one night in class, the best thing you can do to these very young men and young women is hug them. Bring humanity to their lives rather than bring hatred or bring discrimination or bring bias or what have you. Bring humanism to their lives.
Yes. Motivate humans.
Tell us what your goals are right now, because you you've been in the music industry in many different ways. Describe the music industry as you are seeing it and as you are making a change in the world.
Well, music has become visual. It always was visual. You heard somebody for the first time on the radio, you wanted to see them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we're up close. We're seeing everything. We're seeing you at your own barbecue in your backyard now.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing everything. Music is visual. So now that the dust has settled, that we've gotten so personal through social media, we know everything you do, the vacation you take. And as musicians, we're talking about the artists that I like. This is what they post.
Mm-hmm.
Their personal things. I don't want to know that no more. Okay? I want to know the creative process of making music and getting from point A to point B to the completion of it. I'm more intrigued about that. So now that we have the tools and the technology, we're lacking the experience that generations before us presented us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your jazz greats, your Miles Davis and your John Coltrane's.
Louis Armstrong.
When are those going to pop up again on the planet? I don't see a lot of that. The programs in schools have been cut long ago. So this is why electronic music dominates right now. It's easy to do. It's right there in your bedroom. I have a setup in my bedroom. It's so easy to turn out music that we have so much of it. It's hard to discover good music.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I see going forward, it would be a complete immersive experience listening to your music. Remember the commercial with the Memorex guy sitting in a chair, and they said, "Is it live or is it Memorex?"
Yes.
And the speakers blew the hair back and all that. Remember that?
I do.
This is where we're at now. It's actually happening. Where your music is, when you put those headphones on, there's a lot of things going on. That's why they call it binaural, mixing, right? So we're mixing in two speakers that's over your ear, but there's something strange that can happen. It's like in gaming, you can hear your opponent walking behind you through the headphones. Well, we're starting to incorporate a lot of that in the music now. So imagine you listening to a song about butterflies and you can actually hear the wings flapping in your ears while the music is going on.
Well, as we're listening to the wings flapping, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with some wonderful insights, perceptions, and attitudes by our friend Otis.
Hi, this is Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. You might know me as the voice of the Blue Raiders, but I want to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Whether you're buying or selling, it's time to choose Chip. Do you have a growing family and need to upsize? Are you an empty nester now and need to downsize? Are you thinking of selling your current home but just worried you can't find something else? Well, it's time to choose Chip. I'm looking to be your trusted advisor in real estate. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
Hi, this is Bob Cornell, pastor of Covenant Church right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The answer that you've been looking for is found in Jesus and what he accomplished at the cross. You see, Jesus changes lives from the inside out. We would love for you to join us at Covenant Church, located at 1124 Brinkley Ave right here in Murfreesboro. We have services Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. You can learn more about us at our Cornell Ministries YouTube channel. We want you to grow in Christ at Covenant Church.
For years, I have felt ashamed of my weight, but not anymore thanks to Magnolia Medical Center. There, I received a special weight loss injection that has changed my life. Thank you, Magnolia Medical Center.
Online at magnoliamedicalcenters.com.
Here at Bud's Tire, we make buying Michelin tires simpler. I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We offer a straightforward approach to service, including nationwide warranties with every purchase. Stop in today to see our full lineup of Michelin and BF Goodrich tires. For whatever you drive, Michelin and BF Goodrich have a tire to fit any need. Bud's Tire Pros, hassle-free, guaranteed. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstirepros.tn.com.
Get to French's Shoes and Boots this Labor Day weekend for the best prices on footwear and apparel for the whole family. We're your Hey Dude headquarters with more styles of Hey Dude shoes in stock than anywhere else. Snag a great deal on a new pair of boots with $10 off the latest styles from top brands like Ariat, Danpost, Durango, and more. French's Labor Day weekend sale, where you get big city brands at small town prices.
Shop at French's. French's Shoes and Boots.
1837 South Church Street in Murfreesboro.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back for the third and final segment of this beautiful Thursday morning with some very beautiful comments being shared with us by Otis DeJohnate. I'll do it one way or the other. I'm just going to call you my friend Otis. That's a good title for a song, my friend Otis. Wouldn't that be a good title?
Yeah.
So talk about your desire to produce, your desire to create in terms of the music world, your desire to find that unique, great talent out there, your desire to bring people's lives to be happier because of the sound of music.
Music brings me so much joy and happiness. There's so many memories. You know, music is it's a moment. It's a moment in time.
It's a scrapbook. If you hear a particular song that suddenly brings you back to an event 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, a particular song will bring back just like looking at a scrapbook.
Imagine, and I take this from my friend Terry Hunter.
Terry's a DJ in
He's
Chicago?
He's a DJ in Chicago. Producer as well, too.
Producer,
yeah,
okay.
He's produced for Aretha Franklin. I can go through his list, and I could name drop forever with this guy. And he's still producing for people. He was nominated for a Grammy, produced it for Beyonce last year, invited to the Grammys. I have friends. I have big friends. I don't like to
throw names.
Yeah. I don't do that. We're not, unless I have to. So this is one of those moments. And I'm gonna take from him. He has a thing. He says, "Imagine no music." Just
the world is silent.
Imagine no music. And I printed the T-shirts up for that. It says, "Imagine no music." Real simple. And when I walk into the grocery store, we talking all walks of life will say, "Wow, I never thought of that." I said, exactly. Music is one of the greatest tools that we have on this planet. It has caused change for all type of things, okay? For good or for worse, for better or for worse. So that, understanding music from that aspect, this is what intrigues me now. How do I make music that becomes a scrapbook for the next generation, right? And record labels at a crossroads right now. So I'm gonna give y'all a nugget, record labels, because we keep having what you guys will keep putting out. It's making it easier for the independent guys, okay? And I'm not trying to make it harder for us. I just want a better sandbox to play in, all right? We have to look at music now like a video game. If you look at children now play video games, there's a lot going on. How can we mimic that and make that music? And so that's where the crossroads where I'm at right now. It's not so much as a crossroads. I know exactly what I want to do. It's just finding the right talent to pull it off. Perfect location for me here in Nashville because of so many things that's happening with the movie industry moving here and the different facets of music that I want to be part of that new generation where the music is visual. It's not nothing new, but it hasn't been harnessed the correct way. Only a few artists have done that. They have great success from it. And we overlook the visual part every time.
Begin with Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson kicked this off. He made that album Thriller. And Thriller changed everything. It changed the entire music industry. It created MTV. If it wasn't for Thriller, I don't know how far MTV gets without that video. Michael Jackson's contribution to music can never be understated. So we're taking a page from that, right? Remember that video Thriller. He was one of the first, if not the first, to spend $1 million on a video. That same video can be done for under $5,000.
Wow.
Now, I'm not saying you're going to get
the same quality.
But that quality, you can do that for under $5,000. Some people can do it for less. I'm not that talented to do that. So if you can imagine an album, a complete album, not just 3 videos, could you imagine the entire album visual like that? That's how we start winning in the music industry. That's how we start winning.
Does music have an influence on happiness or anger, stress reliever or stress creator?
Yes, definitely. And it's all it has all to do with your upbringing. My son right now, here I'll give you an example. My son is starting to listen to rap music that's a little bit more aggressive. Okay? And he's in 6th grade. So I put myself in his shoes. I was in 6th grade. And by that time in life, Dr. Krause, I had experienced everything that you can possibly experience negative. There were so many things that I've seen. I've seen infidelity. I've seen violence, seen drug use. Death. You name it. A 10-year-old. I was 10 years old and was able to witness all of this. I cry now when I look at my son and say, wow, he's never had to go through the things I went through. So with that being said, that approach, I have to be, conscious of the fact that he's going to listen to music without my supervision. His music a little bit more aggressive, but he's taken the intelligent route of it, and I'm so proud of it because I'm like, whoa, he listened to MF Doom, and he doesn't listen to the up. Oh, I did my job. So as he's listening to it, and there's words that pop up, if they become polarizing to him, we have a discussion about it. Because I don't want you to play this out in real life because this is just music. It's just a picture. Yes, it has an impact on us. It does. It's memories. It can cause you, it can motivate you to do stupid stuff. It can motivate you to do incredible, great things. I was motivated by the great KRS-One. This guy literally raised me with his music. He taught me about being the things and the accomplishment that black inventors, I had no clue what we did. And I was in high school and didn't have no clue. And I listened to his music and he was like, hey, did you know a black man made this and a black man made this? I'm thinking like, nah, this guy got to be in the fantasy world. I go to school and pull it out the library and I'm like, oh my God. And so, yes, it has an impact. This guy impacted me positively. There's artists that will impact you and destroy your life if you let it. If you're that, impressionable, I would say, where you can be, motivated to do things that is unacceptable.
Well, like violence. I mean,
violence.
if you were rapping to kill,
you're going to kill.
You're going to
eventually.
kill.
You're
but if your violence
kill.
is to love,
you're going to love. Yes.
Sure.
Music. We have this thing called Psalms in the Bible. That's about music.
Yes, it is.
If you can make music, make the music. The music changed our lives. The music is a weapon. It's been used as a weapon throughout the ages. It's been used as a weapon. It's been used to overthrow governments. Music is powerful, but music also brings people together. Music helps create love. It does.
Probably one of the greatest musicals that I can recall is Evita and Don't Cry for Me, Argentina.
Wow.
And you begin to think, for example, that what kind of power did that have on review and looking at governments, primarily in Latin America? But the words and the music, have a very significant impact.
Yes. I swear by this album, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that's the greatest album ever created in history. And of course, you're going to get a ton of people say, no, this and that. I'm just saying from my experience, that is the greatest album ever created. It has social commentary, talks about God and love, talks about drug abuse. It talks about the entire experience, our human experience, but it gives it to you that's so palatable. It sounds beautiful. And I was a child loving this album and had no clue of what he was talking about. Now that I'm an adult and listen to it, I'm like, wow, it blows my top off. And I swear by it.
When you see a great artist like that,
yes,
who was killed by his father. Marvin Gaye Sr.
That's
and
right.
In North Carolina, I think the father was from North Carolina.
I do believe
I
so.
remember right. And yet, you know, what he contributed, what so many performers have contributed. You know, it's kind of interesting when you take a look at music that has withstand the decades, and you take a look at the lyrics, you take a look at the theme, you take a look at the beat, if you may. Really test the music that has stood time.
Greatness is not easy to achieve, and usually those guys who create what we call greatness, their goal wasn't to create greatness. It was to create the best possible experience that they can give you, and that became great. Yes, I want to be the best, but that, just because you want to be the best, that doesn't mean that's going to happen, right?
Correct. Are you optimistic about the future?
Yes, very much so. Very
Both
much so.
within our nation, our society, and ourselves as individuals.
Yes, yes. Some people would say different, but I'm always optimistic. Why would it? If you're living in on this planet and you're not optimistic about change, something went wrong. Something is it's not wrong with you. Something went wrong. I'm so optimistic and so fascinated about technology and what that brings. I say things like this. Could you imagine Marvin Gaye having the ability to record on Pro Tools in a DAW, a digital audio workstation? Are you serious? How much music would this guy would have created? So why I say I'm optimistic is because at some point or another, we're going to come across these great individuals, and it's important that we give them a platform so they can showcase themselves.
I'm going to have you return at another time, because you have the spirit, and you have the encouragement, you have the outlook, and the most important message, as I can take away from our visit this morning, is that tomorrow, somehow, some way, if we make it, will be better than today, which is better than yesterday.
That's right.
And as long as we always look that tomorrow shall be better and work toward tomorrow being better, we will be better.
We will.
Otis, thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Roundtable on WGNS. You are a great inspiration to everyone you're around.
Thank you for having me. This has been an honor, and I appreciate our experience. I have so much respect and admiration for you. I'm so glad we met.
And may our friendship
Yes.
continue
Yes.
for a long, long time.
Yes.
See you next Thursday, folks.